Moving on to item number 18, this is for a discussion by our council itself. And this is the League of California Cities annual conference resolution. Was asked to be brought to us by the Vice Mayor. So I will turn the lead to the discussion over to the Vice Mayor.
Well, every year, or at least almost every year, there are different resolutions, issues to support by many of the cities. There's, hundreds of them here, and at this time, they've been requesting a new path on how to, I guess, get approval for traffic funding or transportation funding. And while I was reading it, there were some concerns as to whether some of for the rural communities, being able to hold into some of the requirements and desires. It was going towards more of a social justice type situation, and then also low-income justice type things. And being that those are actually focused a lot on Oakland, Fremont, LA, and many of the other cities that have recognized by their leadership that there is social justice reparations or things that need to happen. And it would be very difficult for rural cities, even decent-sized cities out in the Sacramento Valley, to be able to qualify for a lot of this requirements and funding. At least that's the way I read it. And so it is, one size fits all, and I'm sorry, we're not one size fits all. And that's what I came up with on my overall analysis. So I'm a little concerned about this. I don't know if any of the other members actually reviewed the resolution. They're trying to get down to 0 accidents. I mean, it's a remove all risk. Same thing that our FEMA and the Corps of Engineers sometimes tries to do. They get out there and they say, we want to remove all risk. We want it to be 1,000-year flood protection. We're looking at them like, yeah, so where do we live? In the mountains? We go in there, we have fires. Now they're trying to get them out of the mountains because of the fires. What do we move? Earthquakes. I mean, they're trying to remove all risk in this. And it's, to me, vision 0 and towards 0 deaths. And it's a noble comment, but their approach to it is literally, to me, fantasy land in my idea. So I have trouble with this.
So is your recommendation not to support the resolution?
I would not support this. It needs some work. And for us to go at it, I can't remember what the exact analysis was. Can't find it right now. And it was not fully recommended by many of the organizations. It says it puts us at risk of not qualifying and being very difficult to qualify for smaller communities and ones that don't have these issues. And so some of the money is going to be sliced off for others that we can't compete for. So I have trouble with it.
Any other input?
Did staff or administration review it much to get their input on this? Because I did not really.
Staff was not requested to review this, so we did not review this.
Okay.
This is an action for electeds to really look at as a support mechanism or not. I'll give you my input for what it's worth.
Thank you.
Having spent 32 years in police work, starting as a specialist in 1983, well into my career as a working traffic, my goal in 1983 was to work with the governor's office, and this was preceded. It was just preceding who OTS is today. The goal is to reduce injury and fatal collisions. These are considered one and the same in California and throughout the nation by the governors. An injury is catastrophic. Death, obviously, the end of the injury range. But to have a goal of 0 is, well, lofty and not necessarily attainable, is a goal in which to put funding and put a priority on those funding mechanisms internally. As I worked through our traffic unit in Yuba City, a number of programs were developed. I was a co-developer of the STEP program, myself and Chris Murphy, who went on to be the director of the Office of Traffic Safety, developed that very program. I wrote grants for approximately $2 million through the Office of Traffic Safety. And with efforts put forward, we went in Yuba City in a 5-year period of time from 435 injury and fatal crashes to 187. No one thought that that would be possible. You can do what you can do. It's not dollar generated, it's an initiative to make people more aware of what is going on. As vehicles, and I attribute part of the reduction to injuries in significant changes made to the automobile. They became more safe. The restraint systems became better. There were less passive systems within cars. The braking systems changed in 1984. And the requirements for different impact ratios began to change, along with a significant issue looking at impaired drivers or drunk drivers. Programs such as the Every 15 Minutes program was named specifically for the fact that someone died in the United States every 15 minutes related to DUI. To me, that was an unconscionable number. As I began that program, working with the Every 15 Minutes program, we had just put on our first programs within the Yuba City area when we had a quad fatal on Blevin Road involving a high-speed Mustang on a foggy night with an impaired driver. You can't put dollars or effort to the reduction of those. Knock on wood, we haven't had another one of those incidents. Now, today, the numbers are about, you can't call it, even though the program name is still Every 15 Minutes, you can't call it every 15 minutes because it's now approximately every 32 minutes. The effort's more than doubled through a concentrated effort and a vision of individuals that have had issues related to DUI. The courts have become less tolerant. There are every component of Vision Zero may not be the best for the system, but yet I think it's a vision worth looking at, debating, and certainly trying to focus to meet some of the achievements that are listed. And that's just my 2 cents.
I found the number one item that was cautioned, and that's what I wanted to find in here. It's not the value of them or the lack of being able to put a value. The point is if the League of Cities votes this to be in there, even though it does fit existing league policies and encourage them, the number one caution is that it will commit all members of the league and the league staff to supporting Vision Zero, Towards Zero Deaths, and other programs and policies that prioritize the transportation safety within that realm. So it's going to commit the whole system to that. And that is something to where I think it's more of an individual, a city or a region rather than the full League of Cities that should be literally committed to that legally, period. And we'd have difficulty dividing up different things. So it's that program and that program alone at the time. That was the main concern, is committing ourselves to a specific direction rather than, maybe more up to regions and stuff. And that's a statewide. And that's the reason.
Death isn't limited to region.
Right.
Fatalities in automobiles aren't limited to states. This is a national issue. The nation, through various programs and funding opportunities, address it through your federal gas tax returning to states. I think that it is admirable that we would look to achieve a goal as a state, as cities within the state, reaching out where the number one cause of death on our highways is not I-5, Highway 20, or any other place. It happens within municipalities. Mm-hmm. It is, without a doubt, one of the leading causes of teenage death. And I think that addressing those issues and putting an effort towards it is only worthy of our time and effort. As members of the League opposing it, I suppose anybody could leave the League of California Cities should they choose.
Through the mayor. Yeah, I have a little bit of a different take on this thing. As I was reading through those resolutions, it's interesting. I mean, we're a rural community. You got West Hollywood, you got Fremont, you got San Diego, you got LA, all supporting this. And if you take a look, as Yuba City, we're saying, hey, we're a real small city, so it really doesn't affect us. So, one way or the other, we should kind of be neutral, I mean, whatever the thing is. And I look at this as a community as we continue to grow. Our Highway 99 used to be known as Blood Alley. And you can even pass and you can even think about sirens going down. And I think that not only had to do with the automobiles you're saying, but it had to do with proper planning and getting passing lanes. However, we got them through Caltrans, and they were not considered 2 lanes, they were considered passing lanes, and pretty soon all those passing lanes around Dingville became into the highway. So my personal thought process is, safety, regardless of whether it's automobiles or it's police or whatever it is, public safety should be our number one priority. And one death, in my opinion, is one death too many. And, my personal thing is, if it's a resolution that puts them for us to help reduce or make safety a top priority for our transportation projects, hey, fantastic, great. If we can save, one person's life because they've made us do something for transportations, just seeing some of the projects around this community that we've done to help safety overall. And we're talking about bicycle grants that has to do with safety too, trying to bring awareness to bicycle riders as well as motorists, all part of education. I would say that we have a better chance of improving safety than somebody of LA or San Diego or Fremont or West Hollywood does.
Through the mayor.
Okay.
I think this is not about attainment of zero. This is about setting a goal of zero. I think if you look back at the every 15 minutes program and the fact that had we not done that, it may have been every 10 minutes had we not done it, but we were able to make an impact, and now it's every 32 minutes. So doing something certainly is better than doing nothing at all, and so I would support this.
I would like to restate that this was brought up just because of and it's a change of the League of Cities. I'm on one of their boards, so I was asked to bring this to the board if we had any concerns at all in direction. I brought it forward. I work with every 15 minutes almost every year, so I'm involved in that currently, as you were in the past. I don't know how about now, but this is just want to make sure we know we're committing ourselves to this. I have no objections to it. I want to make sure that this change is recognized as a commitment from now into the future. So that needed to be addressed, and mainly because League of Cities actually brought it up to such a high level of discussion that we needed to discuss it independently.
I'm not going to get into a tit for tat on this, but I'm not going to have brought into question my involvement in every 15 minutes. I've been involved since.
No, you do a fantastic.
I've been
job.
involved since 1998, and every
You do a
year.
fantastic job.
And I'm part of the leadership of the Yuba City and Marysville contingent that brings together regional cooperation, and I also assist other jurisdictions
Never
to the
questioned
west and also down to Woodland whenever they put on a program. So I am involved. I have never not been involved, and I will continue to be involved because it is a viable program. Pat Miller. Microphone.
My question is the League of California Cities going to monitor how actively you participate in this if you go along with their resolution? Is there going to be any monitoring, or is this just this is what we would like to see, and everybody, you're on your own, every city you're on your own to make it happen? I mean, there's no enforcement by the League of California Cities?
This goes into a policy document support for that program, and the ideas that support the zero goal. So this is mainly a policy decision.
The policy that's
Correct.
not enforceable.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not going to go anywhere with that.
Yeah, let me answer that. As the league moves forward, I think what you're going to see occur is the Office of Traffic Safety, through their programs, the distribution of funds through the governor's office, may have a funding stream that would have Vision Zero in it. I wouldn't doubt that a bit as we move forward, and that is, in my estimation, a commendable position for OTS to take.
Okay, so if you buy in, or go along with the vision and the resolution from the League of California Cities, that puts Yuba City in a better spot to get state, federal money.
It most certainly could.
Okay.
As the voting delegate that will be attending the conference, I have heard the voice of the council, and will vote accordingly of my own conscience while I am there.